you supposed to do when you are feeling overworked? You're feeling stressed, you're feeling lonely, and Ben & Jerry's is singing the siren call from the freezer. I feel you. Emotional self-care is the answer, friends. Now, this video is going to go over everything that you need to know to develop a full toolbox of tools to manage and work through your feelings and not to just dull or numb them with food. Emotional self-care is skill building. Just like learning to play the piano or baking the perfect cake, it takes practice. And here's what might surprise you. As an intuitive eating registered dietitian, I actually do recommend that you allow yourself to eat emotionally. Say what? Now, emotional eating, I talked about this a lot on this channel, is something that is completely normal and part of being a healthy human, honestly. We just need to have more tools than just that one in our toolbox. So more on that in a bit. But first, what are emotions exactly, and are they bad? So what are emotions, right? Emotions don't always feel good, right? And they're uncomfortable. And a lot of times we don't want to feel uncomfortable, right? And so as a result of this, we look for ways to dull or to numb those feelings to try to lessen the discomfort. And we might dull those feelings by watching a zillion reruns of your favorite show, Hello Friends, or you might be eating a whole bag of chips. You might be drinking too much cheap wine, or you might be hyped up on lots of lattes, or maybe a combo of several of those throughout the day, right? But here is the deal, gorgeous. Emotions are simply signals that something is off. Now, think about it. If you accidentally, let's say touch the hot stove, your body would instantly tell you that you're gonna get burnt and that you better get your hand the heck out of there. So that signal, it's not bad. It honestly saves your body from further harm. Emotions are kind of the same way. So are you sad and cranky because you are a quote unquote bad person? Absolutely not. You might be feeling cranky because you need some time away from your stressful job. You need a nourishing meal or an evening with friends that laughing so hard makes your stomach hurt. Emotions, they are a completely normal part of human experience, but many of us can use some practice and some new tools in that tool belt to manage them without having so much overwhelm. So let's chat about this hot potato first. Let's talk about emotional eating. Emotional eating has a bit of a bad reputation that isn't entirely warranted. So eating, it does feel good and it should feel good. Eating can make us feel better. Now, what surprises a lot of members of the Society Intuitive Eating community is that really learning that emotional eating is actually a really broad spectrum, okay? Emotional eating, it involves eating for some reason other than necessarily refueling. So let's explore a few examples. So this kind of totally appropriate emotional eating may be enjoying a warm and gooey chocolate chip cookie right out of the oven, or celebrating your friend's birthday and enjoying a slice of decadent cake. So you might not in this instance have been actually hungry at that exact moment, but it felt good to enjoy those treats, right? And that's great. But also having things because you are sad, that is actually totally okay as well. And I'm going to go over a few tips and strategies for using this kind of emotional eating when needed, right? Without regret, without the shame. So the trouble with emotional eating comes in when eating is your only way to deal with those uncomfortable emotions like fear or sadness or overwhelm. And when we do it in a way that consistently makes our bodies not feel so great. So picture a new toolbox, okay? Now, if the only tool that is inside there is a hammer and you're going to be out of luck the next time you need to measure a new piece of furniture or tighten a screw, a hammer is not good or bad. It's just simply not the tool that you need, right? A tape measure and a few screwdrivers, that means that you are better equipped to solve more issues, right? So instead, emotional self-care can include emotional eating without judgment or guilt, okay? Now, I would also advocate for other tools to help you feel and to process your emotions and to have a more robust, helpful toolbox, okay? So let's kick off this expanded toolbox of yours with naming feelings, okay? Naming feelings, naming that scary feeling, those things that we can't fully name or even describe, it makes it scarier. So even a diagnosis can be a relief to finally have a name for something that is ailing you. So any Harry Potter fans out there, Dumbledore always insisted on calling Voldemort by his name, not he who shall not be named, right? Because fear of the name only increases fear of the thing itself. Wise words. Sometimes feeling things all whirly and swirly and hard to describe or even pinpoint, it feels so overwhelming, right? It's hard to solve a problem if you don't actually know what the problem is or what is bothering you. So loneliness might be soothed with different strategies like calling a friend, writing a letter, then boredom might, which might be grabbing an exciting book or spending some time doing your favorite hobby. But if your head feels completely full of just all of these emotions and these feelings, sometimes getting it out on paper is also another really great place to start. So journaling, starting to identify what those emotions are. And that's really the next self-care emotional strategy that I have for you. It's okay that this might feel hard, journaling, but with practice, it's going to feel simpler. So write it out. You know how an organizing project at home, sometimes it has to get a little bit messier before it gets better? I mean, think about wanting to organize your closet. In order to do so, you've got to take everything out and throw it on your bed, right? And the empty dresser drawers and the finishing of the laundry so that you know exactly what you have, all that's gotta happen first, right? Journaling can be the same way. We have to get all of those feelings out on paper so that you can actually know what you are dealing with. If you can, give yourself permission to journal without any expectations and to just start writing things down as soon as they bubble up into that gorgeous little head of yours. Now, you might be surprised what you uncover. And once you have the whole gamut of the feeling out in front of you, your head is probably gonna feel a little bit clearer, and I'm guessing a whole lot calmer. And you know what? A clearer head is far better at deciding what next step of emotional self-care is honestly gonna serve you, right? If you're not into journaling, try writing a letter. Sometimes this can be a little bit more tangible. It could be fun to write a letter to a friend to increase your feelings of connection, or you could write a letter that you will never send to get those heated feelings off of your chest. Totally been there. It might even feel ceremonial and cathartic to burn this kind of a letter. Feel those feelings, sit down with them, and then let them go. Bye-bye bonfire, anyone? Another option is to simply just color, okay? Maybe coloring will give your mind the freedom to explore feelings or to take a break and to recharge. Pay attention to which art supplies that you are drawn to. If you prefer markers over crayons, get what you need, have the experience, make it enjoyable because you deserve that, right? That can really help us feel our feelings, honestly. Consider therapy also, you guys. I wish we lived in a world which going to therapist had no greater significance than going to get your teeth cleaned, right? They are both part of treating your physical body and your mental health with respect. Now, our friends and our family, they have great potential support as well, but they aren't therapists most of the time, right? And we shouldn't treat them as such. Sometimes it can take visiting a few different therapists to find the right one for you. But when you do, there is so much potential to learn those new coping skills, to identify your own personal patterns, and to only continue with the ones that are really supporting and serving you and supporting you being your best self and living your best life, as cheesy as that sounds. Another tip is to find joyful movement. I do not know about you, but the gym at my college was chocked full of women swishing away on elliptical machines. Popular? Yes, but were any of them looking joyful while they were moving their bodies? not so much. Joyful movement is exactly as it sounds, you guys. Movement that brings a smile to your face and that you do purely for fun, not for burning calories, not for weight loss, not to earn a specific meal or snack. As an intuitive eater, you always have permission to enjoy any food, any drink that you'd like. You do not need to earn it, guys. Now, for me, I love activities that remind me of being a kid. I mean, bring on the rollerblades, bring on bouncing on my rebounder trampoline. But I also really love lifting heavy things. In a good body pump class, I went to one this morning, I feel so empowered, okay? But for you, maybe it's a Zumba class with the exuberant music and the fun outfits, or maybe it's quiet hikes among the trees. Movement boosts your endorphins. It helps you to cultivate, honestly, good gut health. It promotes a good night's sleep, and it even helps you to have more regular bowel movements. Yep. Talk about a mood booster. Now, I haven't always had the best relationship with exercise. I talk about this a lot. I was using it as a self-care tool in all the wrong reasons, as earning my food, punishing my body for changing when I went to college and ate all the dorm food. Just like developing, though, a healthy relationship with food takes time and effort, so does improving your relationship with exercise and finding joyful movement. So to help you find joyful movement, I want you to ask yourself this question, okay? Write this down. Would you still do XYZ if there was no chance that it would change your body? Just noodle that one a bit, okay? Joyful movement is just one example of an emotional self-care hobby. Now, I do have a few more ideas for you next, okay? Cultivate hobbies, that's another tip. We feel best when we have lives outside of work, outside of our families. Find something that you enjoy so much that you lose track of time while you're doing it. What do you get super excited about? Is it gardening? Is it pottery? Or maybe it's something yet to be discovered. That's okay too. Having activities that get you off your screens and start immersing you in learning a new skill is a chance to fully immerse and lose track of time. It also can curb boredom and the boredom eating that might not be far behind that boredom feeling. And if boredom eating feels like a struggle for you, I've got you. I have a whole video on it. I'll link it for you. Another tip is to set boundaries. Oof, this one can take practice, you guys. So many of us are people pleasers, and society expects it of a woman especially. Advocating for your own needs can feel like swimming upstream, I know. You are worth protecting the boundaries that make you feel safe, secure, and relaxed. Now, how to not take on another project at work, leaving you feeling even more drained. That is not having boundaries, right? Or how to deflect your mother's body comments that make you feel about 2 inches tall. Stick up for yourself. But again, that takes practice, but it is work that is worth doing. Now, sometimes it can help to picture your best friend in the exact stressful situation to see how you'd advocate for protecting her. Now, this helps to overcome our own tendencies to want to protect everyone but ourselves, right? Now, again, this is where a therapist can really help with kind of role-playing these conversations out in advance so that you can have those real life conversations a little bit more smoothly and with greater confidence. Unplugging social media is omnipresent these days. It isn't just the magazines with messages of thinness and needing to change your body to be worthy. It is every social media platform 24/7 on your phone, computer, tablet, whatever it might be. So I would encourage you to notice how you feel after your scrolling session, okay? Do you feel more connected and fulfilled, or do you feel icky? Okay, I recommend that you unfollow anyone that makes you feel bad and to only subscribe to magazines, if you have those, that make you feel happier. Maybe it's newsletters in your email. For many, scrolling through social media leads to comparison and feeling pretty darn crummy. I have a whole blog post on the topic of comparisonitis and stopping the comparison game, so I'll link to that if you need some ideas for pumping the brakes on the comparison. So next up, let's chat eating. If you really want, after considering a few different options of emotional self-care, you want to eat something delicious, eat, okay? Sometimes what really feels best is eating the cookies or to dunk the fries in the milkshake. Own your choice. Here is my only advice about this kind of emotional eating. Stay present, okay? When we use food to soothe our emotions, there's kind of this tendency to check out of the experience because there might be maybe some shame or some other negative thoughts that are paired with this choice. Now, as I mentioned earlier, eating to soothe our feelings is a perfectly valid choice. We just don't want to have that be our, again, only tool in our toolbox. If we check out and we try to hide from our true preferences in that moment, it isn't as satisfying as an experience, right? Why would we want to feel physically uncomfortable on top of our crummy feelings? How do you stay present? So my simple tip is to ask yourself, how does this food taste? This is immediately gonna help you slow down and to experience it. Am I still enjoying this, right? Or am I just using this to numb my feelings? Now, an extra bonus is that being present, noticing that taste is gonna help you honor your fullness cues and to not eat past fullness, which is another common opportunity to hop on the shame train, not feel good, have those negative emotions. So let's hop off that train, right? And getting to a place of discomfort with our eating, probably not gonna feel good, probably gonna aid in more of those negative emotions, okay? I have a whole video packed with tips on how to stop eating when full, so I'll link that. Be sure to give it a watch if you need more advice on that topic. Another tip is to recharge. You know the saying, you cannot pour from an empty cup. So get a good night's sleep, spend time with friends and family whose company lights you up and that you enjoy. And also having peaceful alone time and moving joyfully, those all help to recharge your own batteries. Emotional self-care, you guys, is not just bubble baths and chocolate. Emotional self-care is about really creating a life that you don't want to escape from all the time. We all have those moments. Now, when it comes to emotional self-care and emotional eating, I want you to remember this. It is okay, absolutely okay, to have a brownie for a pick-me-up on a bad day, but we can't expect that brownie to fix the bad day. And again, eating the whole thing is likely just going to leave you with a stomachache and a bad day, right? Just pouring fuel to the fire here. If you have other tips for emotional self-care or emotional eating, comment below, share them. I would love to hear your tips and to share within this community. I hope this video is helpful. Be sure to give it a thumbs up if you have not, and hit subscribe there and hit the little bell to be notified every time a new video is uploaded, which is every single week on all things intuitive eating. So with that, I'll see you guys next week. See you later.